Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Kings vs Heat game day, De'Aaron Fox's injury, Kevin Huerter's status, 3 things to watch. The Kings will wrap up a 4-game road trip when they visit the Miami Heat on Monday at Kaseya Center. Kings guard Kevin Huerter is listed as questionable after missing Saturday's game against the Toronto Raptors due to illness. Sacramento beat the Utah Jazz and Atlanta Hawks to start the trip before suffering a 131-128 overtime loss to the Raptors. Following the loss, Kings point guard De'Aaron Fox revealed new details about an injury he sustained early in training camp. Fox said he dislocated the pinky on his left shooting hand. X-rays were negative, but the injury has not healed. Fox told the Sacramento Bee's Chris Biederman he is likely suffering from ligament damage, but he is trying to play through an injury that would likely take a month to fully heal. Fox was shooting 36.7% from three-point range before a 0 of 11 performance against the Raptors dropped him to 26.8%. The Kings, 3-3, will come home following the game in Miami. They will play host to the Raptors on Wednesday and the Los Angeles Clippers on Friday. The Heat, 3-2, is coming off a 118-98 victory over the Washington Wizards. Bam Adebayo had 32 points and 14 rebounds in the win. Here are 3 things to watch in Monday's game. Going all in for Damian Lillard is not a sure thing for the Miami Heat. Is Dame playing his way out of Milwaukee, or has Dame lost it? Would you trade for him without knowing for sure? This question came after Damian Lillard went 1 for 12 in the Milwaukee Bucks' loss to the Memphis Grizzlies last week. Lillard followed that up by going off for 41 against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Saturday night. He's averaging 26.2 points on 44.2% shooting this season, so it's probably inaccurate to say he's lost it. That said, the Bucks are struggling. They are 1-5 and rumors are swirling about Giannis Antetokounmpo's future in Milwaukee, which thrusts the status of the whole roster into question. I don't doubt that the Miami Heat would kick the tires on Lillard again should the Bucks listen to offers. Lillard is 34, but still capable of scoring 30+ on any given night. If the Heat want to maximize whatever is left of Jimmy Butler's prime, pairing him with a floor spacer like Lillard is a great fit. It's the reason why the Heat were so interested in Lillard a year ago, before the Portland Trail Blazers traded him to Milwaukee. Lillard would not demand the same return he yielded for Portland a year ago. What would the Heat be willing to offer? Would they come off of Tyler Herro now? Herro is 10 years younger, making nearly $20 million less than Lillard, and thriving as he's embraced more of an off-ball role. If the Heat were willing to include Herro, what else would it cost? How many of the young players like Jamie Jaquez Jr., Nikola Jovic and Kel'el Ware? There's also the matter of depth and the salary cap. The Heat would have to stack several salaries to get to Lillard's number, $48.7 million. Doing so would drain them of multiple rotation players. The Heat could sign free agents to minimum contracts to replace them, or promote players on 2-way contracts, but doing that would take them well above the second luxury tax apron. Is that something the Heat would do for Lillard? If Lillard suddenly became available, the Heat would have to at least make a call, but not before considering the cost and ramifications of a potential deal. Just because the Heat were willing to trade for him a year ago does not necessarily mean they would be as motivated this time around. A lot has changed. Golden State Warriors willing to trade key player amid links to Miami Heat's Jimmy Butler. The Golden State Warriors have made a better start to the season than most people would have expected. They are 4-1 even with Steph Curry out injured, as Buddy Hield has done a pretty good job of filling the void of Klay Thompson over the first 5 games. Still, it feels like the Warriors need a second star alongside Curry if they want to put up a genuine challenge for the championship. Interestingly, the name of Jimmy Butler has been linked with them for a while. Butler's future with the Miami Heat is up in the air. He did not get a contract extension in the offseason, and the belief is that he will opt out of his player option to make a free agent next summer. Of course, that raises the possibility of the Heat exploring trade routes for Butler, especially after the underwhelming start they have made to the season. Interestingly, it looks like the Warriors might now be more willing than ever to include Jonathan Kuminga in a trade. A report from Sam Amick in The Athletic goes on to read, "Yet while rival executives believe the Warriors are more willing than ever to include Kuminga in a trade of significant magnitude, the fact remains that they're setting their sights very high in terms of possible targets." One name to monitor is Jimmy Butler, the 35-year-old Miami Heat star who league sources say drew interest from the Warriors during the offseason and who did not come to terms on an extension. He'll be an unrestricted free agent next summer. There were high expectations that Kuminga would take the next step this season, but in the absence of Curry, the 22-year-old has seen himself drop to the bench. Interestingly, Kuminga has proven to be more effective in his new role than he was as a starter earlier on in the season. It is also worth mentioning that Kuminga did not receive an extension from the Warriors this summer. He was believed to be aiming for an annual salary in the $35 million range, while the franchise was not ready to go beyond the $30 million range. So, could the Warriors end up trying to trade for Butler by including Kuminga in the deal? Time shall tell. Coming into the 2024-25 season, many Miami Heat fans felt that the organization were going through a transitional phase and were ready to make Bam Adebayo the new face of the franchise while slowly moving away from the Jimmy Butler era. Their activity, or lack of it, over the summer also pointed in that direction. Adebayo was handed a massive contract, while Butler was not given an extension. But after the start that Adebayo has made to this season, not many have been left impressed. The latest of his disappointing displays came against the New York Knicks as the Heat lost 116-107. Adebayo put up 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. On the other side, Karl-Anthony Towns had 44 points, 13 rebounds, and 2 assists. Overall, Adebayo has averaged 11 points, 3 assists, and 7.2 rebounds this season after the first 4 games and is yet to make a three-pointer. It is safe to say that Heat fans have not been impressed with what they have seen from the new face of the franchise. This was supposed to be the year that Adebayo took the next step in his development. A lot was made of him becoming a better three-point threat coming into the season. And yet, over the first 4 games, it feels like he has taken a step back in pretty much every department. Then age, it is just 4 games. Way too early to come to any conclusions. But the Heat need to be much better if they are to even get to the playoffs this season. Adebayo is not the only problem either. Butler seems a bit off color as well, by his own standards, although he has had a couple of good performances too. Tyler Herro has probably been the only bright spark for the Heat so far this season, but his 34-point performance against the Knicks went in vain. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Jonathan Kuminga? Leave your opinion in the comments.